Hello, welcome to the final word. Brentford 1, Everton 3. Everton have won. Premier League football match, and it feels good. It feels very good. Joined by Jack in the studio, sporting a Josh Wonder type hat today. With the 777 links, all of a sudden things are looking up. That's what Jack's coming celebrating.
You know, he looks like quite a stylish man, and he's a billionaire. So, you know, if I can look like him.
Is that what you're trying to do?
Yeah,
manifest that billion. Fair play to you, Jack.
Billionaire mindset, innit?
Fair play. Well, apparently so. Next you'll be getting up at 4 a.m. and doing videos about how to, where you can all have better lives on Instagram.
That's to maximise your day.
The 5 a.m. start, the 5 a.m. club and all that. Back to football,
You'd
anyway.
have an advantage over all of us.
You would.
By being up that early.
There you go. Everton went to Brentford on Saturday night, which was a very tough fixture on paper. Everton have won there in the Premier League since they come up, and won there for years in general against Brentford. But on Saturday, it was all good. Yeah, sound.
It was all good.
So the team, let's go through it then. The team, obviously the manager brought in James Garner for Arne Danjuma. What were your thoughts when you saw that?
Initial disappointment, to be honest, because we've seen James Garner on that right-hand side and it's not worked. He's not a winger. Danjuma, I think he has problems, Danjuma. He's not a perfect player.
He has
problems. He's it's a bit selfish at times, not always the most intelligent, but we know he's a live wire, he can make stuff happen. He's scored one of our precious Premier League goals so far as well. So you're thinking, if he's coming out the team, it should maybe be to, you know, accommodate a 4-4-2 maybe. But we're playing the same way. We're going back to the same system that hasn't worked with James Garner. Proven very wrong on that. Ultimately, I'll hold my hands up. But yeah, initially it was a bit disappointed, I can't lie.
Pat, what were you
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I've seen the outcry on social media, and
Was there?
I always feel like you should keep your powder dry when the team comes out. I just always feel like
Was it that because Garner had come in?
Yeah,
for
I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah, and obviously the fact that then you've got Danjuma on the bench, and you've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin on the bench as well. So it looks quite negative, doesn't it? I think the difference. I honestly don't think James Garner was as bad at right midfield as maybe got played out. I just don't think the team got fitter to get in the first couple of games. And obviously the manager was looking for more of an air of control. And as the game went along, we saw that what the game plan was, and James Garner fitted into that more. And also you've got a forward who you can go long to as well when the pressure was not on, but when you just need that out ball at times. And I think him tucking in as well allowed the Corey to be a lot closer to Beto, and was playing as a partner at times with him. So you're thinking this game, you've got to go and win it, you've got to be positive. But I think it's almost that one step back to take 2 steps forward, just having that little bit more of control of the game, and that's generally how it played out.
Yeah, I mean, he went through, it was a 4-4-1-1 really, wasn't it? And obviously Garner was there to give a bit of protection to Ashley Young as well on that side, and play more of as a right side of midfield play rather than a right winger, which I think that was where the criticism was early in the season of James Garner. He was being asked to play as a wide forward, which he just isn't. But I think he knew his role, and like you said, the Corey got a lot closer to Beto, and having Beto gives you that opportunity, doesn't it? But I thought, to be honest, as insipid as Everton were against Arsenal, and just on a pitch as they were, just to make the numbers up, I thought what they did really well on Saturday night was go after Brentford right from the word go. And they showed the early intent, Jack. They were intense, they were pressing, forcing them back, and there was a real, I thought, play with a real purpose right from the whistle at the weekend.
Yeah, the intensity was there, wasn't it? And it worked really well, because so often we had them pinned in their own box, in their own area. They were forced to go long in situations that they didn't really want to, and that led to them giving the ball away. Because we were not just pressing well, but pressing effectively. We didn't have half the team up there. It meant we still had the bodies in midfield to go and pick these loose balls up, go into these 50-50s. Onana did great in that. He won a lot of duels, a lot of 50-50s. So being able to force them to send the ball longer than they'd like to, because they want to put another 5 passes in there, that immediately gave us the basis to start all these attacks.
And Ped, obviously, we scored so early. You both singled out the core. I've just got a few stills before I ask you about this, but this is the Everton's first goal. And we can see we got a set piece, and last week against Arsenal, Ashley Young's set pieces weren't great. They haven't been great all season, to be fair, but this was one where we knock a corner in, it gets cleared, it comes back out, and then James Garner angles it back in. I've got Abdoulaye Doucouré circled here, and he does really well here because he just pulls off into space. We take it on one, you can see him now, and gets the other side of the defender, and Tarkowski is just about to win this. We see take it on again, Doucouré's pulled into that space, and he just, as it comes down, half volleys it beyond the goalkeeper. You take it on again, and it's past the keeper and in the net, and that was something which we seen as the night developed, but great start. And he done well there, Doucouré, just dropping into that little pocket. And we heard Tarkowski after the game talking about seeing the blue shirt out the corner of his eye and just trying to keep the ball alive. And what a perfect start, 5 or 6 minutes in.
Yeah, it was superb, wasn't it? And it was interesting because I know it was the second ball, but it was interesting again of looking at a set piece and just having something, a different way of doing things, putting in at a different, creating a different angle. It was a good ball in. It was James Garner, wasn't it? It was a really good ball in, and Tarkowski's really good at that, finding his man on a header. He doesn't just win the header. He is somebody who gets good contact on it. And Doucouré, like he has been in so many away games, is in the right place at the right time and finishes brilliantly. It's not always been there at home, but certainly in away games, he tends to find these little pockets of space. And you know, you go back to when we played Brighton, how important he was in that game, and obviously since then he scored against Sheffield United. So it was a perfect start, and it had been a really good start to the game, as Jack said there. The intensity was, and the belief in you could see the belief in the game plan. I think that can be hugely important, can't it? Like you said there, like completely different from last week. Last week was just so stale,
passive, wasn't it?
Yeah, and straight in this game, you could see that the feeling was completely different.
Absolutely. I mean, the manager come out and said they had a sit down in the week and went through stuff, and obviously a few things were said to him, and they took that on board, and they the players, and all credit to the coaching staff and the players for taking it on, because I think if Everton turning this kind of display most weeks, home and away, everyone will be behind them. The results will come and go, like we've said, but the intensity was there for this one, and to get the goal obviously gives you that, you get that affirmation, you get that confirmation, and the belief of what we're doing is correct. And you're right with Tarkowski, he won so many. You think he was dominant at the weekend. Him and Beto, I think, won the most headers, most aerial duels, or certainly in the top 3. 2 of them were in the top 3 for it. And it was a clever little header. But Abdoulaye Doucouré, it was his 7th goal since Sean Dyche has arrived at Everton. No one scored more than him, and he's really benefiting, Jack, from being back in an advanced role. Yeah,
that's his right position, Doucouré. There's a bit of a myth around Doucouré that he was made to play deeper. You look back at his Watford days, quite often being played quite advanced as well. You know, he'll run around, and because he will cover distance, there was maybe the misconception, he's an Idrissa Gana Gueye type, he'll cover distance and win the ball back. He's not good enough on the ball to play that role, but what he is actually is he's quite a decent finisher for someone who's not a forward. Makes good runs into the box, and I thought that was his biggest strength at the weekend as well, because like you say, he was that secondary striker at times and was next to Beto, but a lot of the time he was making runs from further back from the midfield. We had a chance later on where Tarkowski played it to him, he made the run, nearly scored the same goal. Yeah, we'll have a look at that one. He's perfect for this role, Doucouré, because he's not being asked to do anything he's not actually capable of doing. And then he is handy getting around the box, uses body well in the situation for the first goal and for the one we'll have a look at in a minute. You know, gets his body in well, so it means the player either can't get to him or they has to foul him. So, yeah, he's not perfect player, Doucouré, is he? But he's so effective in this role, and he's being rewarded with goals.
I think in this one, Ped, like last week against Arsenal, he's done nothing in the attacking third, which is where you want him, and his numbers actually were better than Garner and Onana defensively. And yet this is where he's free. He's a weird player. He's almost a player who's better without the ball
I think
than when he's on the ball.
What's interesting is, I think his best performance, we just mentioned the Brighton game. The Brighton game was when he had Dominic Calvert-Lewin up front for him. I think a lot of the time when he's been playing in that role, he's been almost like they've swapped around. So when Mopab is in the team, so you go long and he's the player who's having to win that first contact. That's not his game. His game is drifting into those places and being that secondary striker. It does help that he's big and he's physical, but I think when you've seen him at his best in those away games, he's the one finding the space, and that certainly happened at Brighton. And it you know, for the goal here, it happened as well. And almost later on, he gets another one. I think he enjoys being the runner rather than the person who's going to win those headers. I think that's his.
No, it's not his natural.
That's not his natural game, and I think he has been used as that at times, and it just hasn't worked. So having someone big and physical up front aids him massively. Yeah,
I think you're right. The physicality has probably made him have to go and win the ball, because we have had Maupay, we had Damari Gray at times last year, even neither of them were ever going to do it, and he's had to swap roles. But we'll have a look at that second, because he almost made it 2-0. Here we go again, and we've got him circled at the bottom of the picture here. James Tarkowski's on it, and very much like Everton's goal he scored here last year with Connor Cody's pass to Anthony Gordon. He finished, it was in the same kind of thing, and Decore is getting ready. We take it on again. We've got him circled, and he's setting off now as Tarky's looking up to play the pass. Take it again, and he pulls into that lovely pocket between the two defenders, and because Beto's there as well, they know that Beto can be a target for that pass, so they've got to keep an eye on him. Decore drops in between them, take it on, and does this bit really well, backs in to the defender and is able to get hold of it. And we take it on again, he pulls it down, and there he is striking the ball, and we know that that one hits the bar and comes out, and he's a whisker away from making it 2-0. And this comes a few minutes after Beto's flicked one on for Dwight McNeil, and he's shaved the post. And at that stage you're thinking, we could be 3-0 up here. And then obviously 80 seconds later they equalised. But just up to that point, he was making those runs, and he was giving us that out ball, and Brentford was struggling to grab hold of him. And if you just have a look at his numbers as well from the game, you know, the two shots, they both did come in that early part of the game. One goal, 82% passing accuracy, key passes, 1 interceptions, 1. But he is almost like that second striker, and the difference with him, as opposed to being a second, you know, being a midfield player in that role as a second striker, is A, he gets up alongside Beto, makes it a 4-4-2 at times. But B, he's also got that capability to drop back into the midfield and just block passing lanes off and get a body in there. But he done his best work, certainly in the opening half an hour at the weekend.
Yeah, definitely. And that move we just had a look at's a great example of it, because it was so well executed, and I think we were unlucky not to go 2-0 up there. It hits the bar, unlucky slightly more the other way. It's a goal, isn't it? I think him and Beto is such an effective combination, because the attention Beto requires, because he's such a presence. One centre-back stuck to him like glue, the other one looking over his shoulder, keeping an eye on him and expecting him to be on the ball, so he's going to have to come over and cut his lane. Instead, Decore ends up on the end of the pass. The centre-back, who's been looking over his shoulder at Beto, then has to come across to Decore at that point, because he's not immediately marking Decore. He's got the space to turn his body, get his back into the player behind him, and then he can hit it on a strong foot.
Yeah. Ped, I mean, he did start the game really strong.
No, he did. He's got the legs, hasn't he, to join the forward line from midfield quite quickly. He is who he is, isn't he? He's hot and cold. Last week I suppose it's when you're playing against teams who keep the ball well, it can be hard, because you want them to be disciplined. You don't want to get, you know, a bit like last week, you don't want them to move the ball through midfield. You want to cut out the passing lanes. Yeah. You want a bit of everything, don't you? But you have to concede the kind of player he is. I think a game like this probably suited him more, because we did have that high tempo. We did get in the faces. We did win the ball high up the pitch, and that gives him the opportunity to spring a lot easier. You have to concede. There'll be weeks when he'll have a good game like that, and other weeks where he won't. Yeah. Because he sort of just fits into a very small niche He's not a defensive player. He never was a defensive player. He's one of those players that people can just instantly recognise and go, why are you playing him in that position? When he was playing in a 2 for so long as well, you're looking and going, why are we playing Decore in a defensive role? He just hasn't got those...
Because nobody else was there to do it.
Yeah, but he just doesn't have those attributes. And I think when it works for Sean Dyche for them, it works well. It doesn't work every week.
He's midfield, he's a goal scorer midfield player, isn't he? That's what he is. But he is a better player with less touches. He can get around, he can make ball recoveries and tackles like we saw last week against Arsenal. He had the most out of all 3 of them. But his real strengths, because he can do what the other 2 can't do, which is get goals. The other 2 haven't got goals in them, and that makes him very, very important to not only Sean Dyche, but to Everton Football Club. And like I said, 7th goal under Dyche since he's been here, which is a tremendous return for a midfield player, isn't it? We had the moment which was so frustrating, like I just said, 80 odd seconds, I think it was 83 seconds or something, after we hit the bar, we concede a goal, and a frustrating goal to concede, and one which, when they put the initial pictures up on the TV, was offside.
Yeah.
But they put the wrong image up, didn't they? Because they have first phase and second phase and all that. So at first you're thinking, we've got away with it because he's offside. But when it eventually come to him, he wasn't offside. But we just have a look at some of the stills on this one. This is where Garner goes and challenges for the ball. And I've got Dwight McNeil circled on this one because even though Idrissa Gana Gueye come out and make the challenge, McNeil can actually see what's happening in front of him. And there's a run. The run has gone off. It's Matthijs Jensen's making the run off Garner. Take it on one. There he is. So again, Garner's up the pitch because he's come to make the challenge. Now Dwight McNeil's looking right at Jensen. Hasn't bothered running back with him. And Michalenko's now being sucked into the ball. So there's a gap for Jensen to run into. Take it on again. Now look, McNeil's getting further away from Dwight McNeil rather than closer to him. I've got Michalenko circled because he's put the tackle in on, I think it's Mbeumo who's on the floor. I know Nana here as well has let his runner go. And that's where the arrow is. But there's already a gap. You can see Brantwaite, Tarkowski have got, is it Wissert there? We carry it on to the next one. Look, he's getting further away from Dwight McNeil, not closer to him. Now Michalenko isn't where he should be because he's come out to make the tackle. Tarkowski should really have come the other way. He gets dragged across and there's a huge gap. Take it on again and it's Miko nearly gets back and makes the block, but look at Dwight McNeil. It's got even further away, and if you watch it in the video, he's dad running.
Yeah.
He's literally dad running. He's doing some little jog but not going anywhere, and Jensen smashes it in. And I had a little moan of Pickford on Saturday, but he can't save everything. The frustrating thing is, if he misses it, it hits Tarkowski. Yeah. His touch takes it off across Tarkowski. You know, it's nothing Pickford could do really when you look at it. Jensen finishes it. And it's those moments where it's like, we've got to make sure we're doing our job there because we've been so far ahead in the game. We've gone to sleep because McNeil, for me, has got to see that danger. Yes, Michalenko's come out, but if he doesn't come out to challenge, the lad's free.
I think there's like 2 or 3 in there, isn't it? I think Brantwaite gets the initial contact on it and then follows the ball inside. I don't think he should do that. I think he should just allow that to be dealt with by other people. He gets.
But he thinks Tarkowski's
no, I know, but I'm not having a go with the lad. I'm just saying. I think sometimes you have to just pass it on, don't you? And you can't be. You have to stay in your zone, and because you can't always be. Other people can't always read your mind of what you're going to do. You know, as a defender, if you do make a mistake like that, the most important thing to do is stay organised and in shape. And he follows the ball into there, and because it happens so quickly, which it does, the space he's left gets occupied very, very quickly by their opposition. And you're right, McNeil has let him drift away, and obviously that just gets larger and larger and larger because it becomes a problem where it's like, oh, there isn't a problem, so very quickly there is a problem. And that's that thing of like, well, I don't think he's going to do that, and if he does that, I don't think Michalenko's going to be in there. That's something that Brantwaite needs to just look at that, and hopefully they'll be showing him that this week and just looking. You've made a mistake, just let it go. Because if you stay in your position, we'll deal with that. We'll deal with that on the set. There won't be a big gap. So yeah, there are the problems, and it's annoying because it's their first attack. It's their first real attack, and you've thrown away what you've worked hard for, and they can be. That's so frustrating, and it tends to happen all the time for Everton. It happened at Sheffield United, like twice basically. Like you've started well, should be getting more goals, and yet somehow you've made just little small individual mistakes. But it's not just one, it's two, it's three, and before you know it.
I just think you're right. There's the other two don't, do that, and Toffee runs that way instead of going Brentford. I better. But McNeil for me,
McNeil sort of like damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. He should follow him back.
You've got to sprint.
No, I know he should, but the problem is that he might think we'll deal with this, and I'm away because he's gone. He's my marker. Sometimes as a winger, though.
No, I know.
Sometimes as a winger. Those split seconds are...
Because this happened to us against Fulham.
Once Mikalenko's out of it...
No, I know, but as a winger, sometimes those split decisions can be hugely important on both ways of the pitch.
I just think we saw this against Fulham early in the season with James Garner. He let Cordova Reid run, and once he got the run on him, he realised it was too late. By the time he started running, the lads sat it in.
I think the difference is that we
should have gone with
McNeil might look at that. I think we've got loads back.
Maybe. I realise I'm picking it, and these are things that happen in that
split seconds, aren't they?
But it was just frustrating but I thought what Everton did really well to turn that into a positive was, okay, for 5 minutes after it, we wobbled, and Lewis Potter should have made it 2-1. He had a tap in at the far post, and
Toffee's done brilliantly.
Toffee done brilliantly there, but I'm saying the lads had a tap in at the far stick.
I think Toffee's
we could have been 2-1 down, couldn't we? Within having controlled it. But I think after that, we cleared our heads and got control of the game again. Then we have the opportunity, which Idrissa Gana Gueye does brilliantly. Travels forward brilliantly, just rolls one round the corner to Beto. It's a great run by Beto. And if he gets his little dink over the keeper, right, we're winning again. And he scuffs it and it bobbles wide. But I thought, particularly up to half time, Everton did recover quite quickly and get a modicum of control again going into the break.
Yeah, there was a couple of chances. There's certainly that chance. I thought Garner obviously had a couple of misplaced passes which were really poor, don't get me wrong. But he had a couple of runs through midfield. That one, obviously, Beto should do better. He should really score. And then there's another one, I think, a little bit later on. He does something similar. Beto goes a little bit wide and then puts a great ball across and sort of looks in to say...
Well, no one gambled. Neil stays. Yeah. And one of our Decore should have gambled.
But that's where Dan Juma probably would have a tap in. Yeah. But that's horses for courses, isn't it? So, yeah, I mean... You looked at them and they looked at them and thought, these are not on it. Like, I'm not taking anything away from the way we play. By the way, I'm saying they weren't on it, mostly because we were dominating the midfield. And it was that thing of like, do we believe enough? Do we believe that we can go on? Is there enough confidence in ourselves? Because that hasn't necessarily been there. That we can go on and win this game. And obviously, we get to half time and still 1-1, but you like missed opportunities, wasn't it, again? And that's been, again, that's that dreaded feeling, isn't it, that we've all had all season of the first couple of games of the season, Sheffield United. Those opportunities that we've not took or we've not gambled on, or people haven't been like that one for Beto, people gambling on the opportunity. It's not always there because there's a mindset of like protecting what you've got, because people will do that. We're not in a great position. You don't want to lose another game. So, and you see now how not easy it was for them to score, but first chance you think, we've done all that work.
You feel like you're going down a very familiar road, don't you?
Very much so.
Did you feel at half time, Jack, were you confident we could go and win it, or was it that feeling of like, should be ahead of you and it's drawing again? Is this, like Pedro said, is this that missed opportunity again?
I think because we came back into it slightly in the last couple of minutes of the half and didn't spend the entire time after we conceded with our backs against the wall, that made me more confident. The biggest issue for this squad has been the mental capitulation that they have when they face pressure, and we did see it for a couple of minutes, and I was thinking, here we go again. You know, they were doing well, didn't take all the chances, faced a bit of adversity, and now they're panicking. That didn't last long, and they turned it round, and we seemed to get a foothold in the game again. You know, Beto had his chance. We looked all right. Like I said, foothold in the game. So, yeah, half-time comes, think, no, we can win this. You know, we've had a 5-minute period where we've not played well, and that's it. They've punished us in it, but if we can play well for 40 minutes again and take our chances this time, we can still do all right. So obviously, like you say, you've got that in your mind. You're thinking back to Wolves, you're thinking back to Fulham, Sheffield United, where we nearly lost it late. You think, let's not go there again. But we have shown a little bit more control in this game than we did in those times when we faced adversity and crumbled.
I think what we did really well, come out for the second half and got a grip of it straight away, and we shut that. In fact, the second half performance was even better than the first half.
Second half, brilliant.
They just controlled the game. They had them. Everyone seemed to know what they were doing. Beto was a handful, knocking them about. They're unsure with him because he can run. Yeah, he's good in the air. If you want to battle with him, he's strong. And everyone seemed to just get that confidence that you're looking for. And because we do go on and win it, I hope that they remember this kind of confidence. If they do have a bit of adversity, to go, no, we can recover because we did it here. Because we just haven't done it enough. But obviously the crowd were brilliant, the away fans were brilliant as well. You could hear them all night. But we did get back on it smartly, and we get in front with a set piece. With Dwight McNeil back on it. You're seeing Tarkowski telling him, screaming at him, wait, you know, to get into that area. And McNeil puts a great ball in, and Tarky, brilliant. I mean, should have been a penalty if it wouldn't have gone in, because the fella's got fully wrestling with Abdoulaye Doucouré. And the lad, Mark and Tarky, you'd be, from a Brentford perspective, it's Jensen. He's just running with him. He doesn't even look at the ball. He's just running to try and grab him. The ball's behind him, and he just gets a great leap and heads it in. And that's what we've needed, haven't we? We've needed our set pieces.
Yeah, I was actually just before that, I was just thinking it was there. It was there for the taking this game. At 1-1, around like Dom had just come on, hadn't he, for Beto. But you just like, this game is there for the taking. The ground seemed really flat. Their players just didn't really. I know they had a couple of injuries and the kid got injured in the warm-up and stuff like that. It just felt like really flat, like there was nothing going for them. And I was thinking, we can have a go here. This is our opportunity.
We didn't allow them to build.
No. And it's like, do we have that little bit extra belief? Have we got that belief? Like we're saying with the first half, do we have it? You can sense it in games. You can sense that it's there for you to take the game. And yeah, it's a great ball. It's a good header, and we've got our just desserts for a good half so far. And it was obviously we absolutely deserved it. Absolutely deserved it.
You're right with the feelings, because we've had it plenty of times at Goodison where you can see the opposition are getting stronger, and you're thinking, you can feel almost if we don't somehow do something, these are gonna score a goal. And that's how I felt watching it going on. I'm thinking, I'll be honest, I was a bit disappointed he took better. I was thinking he still looks lively to me, but then it's Dom, and you're like, it's Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and he looked up for it, didn't he? And Dom come on, and straight away, you could see he was fresh and ready, and we get that goal. And if we can get our set pieces right, we are a big side. We're a big team.
Tallest team in the Premier League.
There you go.
You'll never say that.
You'll never say that, yeah. You'll never sing that. You've got to get better at set pieces, because for all of our intricate play at times and trying to create things, we put a ball in, it's been headed in, bang, one pass, goal. And that's what we've got to improve, haven't we?
Yeah, and when Sean Dyche came in, I think we all thought set pieces were maybe going to be a bigger part of our game than they had been. You know, first goal, McNeil to Tarkowski against Arsenal, heads it in. Nearly do the same thing against Liverpool the week after as well, when we hit the post. They go up the other end and score, but we won't get into that. And then I can't remember many set piece scenarios I've had success in since, to be honest, but we were really good with our set pieces on Saturday. I think part of the reason why, not to take credit away from the team, but Brentford's keeper doesn't command his area particularly well. He looks a bit unsure coming for crosses. There's the one he punched away earlier.
Well, that led
as well.
to the goal, didn't it?
Yeah,
It's about taking advantage of that, then,
but
isn't it? Yeah.
absolutely,
people on
that's
them now.
intelligent from the team.
Our
and to
keeper
be
doesn't
able
come
to
and claim
pick
But
up
this
set
on-
was a
pieces, does he?
criticism, though, wasn't it? This was a criticism from the last couple of weeks of the manager, though, allowing Ashley Young to continue taking set pieces when he just float. If Ashley Young takes that, he just floats it up on the goal. He does come and
The
get
goalie
something because he
does,
fancies, because it's going. This is going really, really slow. I can deal with this. I can go out and get something, and if someone pushes me, I'll get a foul for it. Whereas you put it on with a little bit of pace and you put it right in the danger area. If you've got a player like Tarkowski or Decore or Dom or Beto who's on the pitch, you've got a chance. But when you're floating those balls in, so when there's a criticism of the manager, you can, and because we were supposed to be a good set piece team, it's all about who delivers the ball. And if you've got someone on who's the deliveries are poor, so it was good that McNeil was back on them, and it was a great ball, it was a good header, and we've got the lead.
And
back.
they are very good offensively and defensively off set plays, Brentford. So it was good that.
But their organisation of them is
Yeah.
good, isn't it? The keeper has struggled adapting to that, but the way they mark up, their zonal marking, it's something that's a big part of their game, isn't
Of
it?
course, and we took advantage. And then from then, I thought we had the worst moment of the second half immediately from the kick-off. We gave a free kick away straight from him. It was an unnecessary foul as well. I think it was Michalenko. I think it was unnecessary. We should have had the ball and we let the lad gather it, and then we can see the free kick, and it comes in. And it's an absolutely unbelievable block by Dominic Calvert-Lewin. There he's showing a willingness to smuggle it away, and I don't know about you two, but when it was ricocheting round, I was just waiting for someone to smash in the net, and we smuggle it away. To great, when you see it again, it's in. If Dom doesn't block it, it's a goal, and it's a huge block. And then after that, we just picked it back up and made another. Dan Zuma come on, and James Garner went on the other side, and then we go and get the third goal, and we've got the third goal. The stills here, and what is brilliant about this is Brentford play it out like they like, but James Garner's on him quickly and smartly, presses him, got him circled, presses him brilliantly, nicks the ball, we take it on, and then Dominic Calvert-Lewin's setting off, and here we go, and it's Abdoulaye Decore actually makes a brilliant run here, runs out, which causes a gap. James Garner's got it, we take it on again. See, Decore's made that run on the outside, the gap opens up, now can you play it through? And he plays a lovely ball with the outside of his foot into the gap. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, good first touch away from the chasing defenders, take it on again. Now can you slot it into that area? Dom puts it under the keeper, ball bobbles in, and he gets the Al Babetto celebration from the World Cup '94 as he runs away. Decore decides to try to go full Steve Morrow and break his wrist and then be out forever. But it's a brilliant goal, and I'll be honest, I wouldn't have wanted anybody else but Dom to score it, because I think it's a huge goal and a huge moment for him, because he's had a terrible time. We had all that nonsense at Villa with getting booze and stuff. No one wants to be fit and playing and scoring goals more for Everton than Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and there's still an element of people that don't believe in him, I think it feels like. But when he's on form and firing like he was at the weekend, he's brilliant and he's a handful.
Yeah, made up for him personally. Last season he struggled bad with injury issues, as he has done for a while. I think he did play about 16 games in total, didn't he? And got the one goal.
He's played 18 the last two seasons, but not all starts.
Yeah. The 18 games and one goal, on two. Oh, sorry, two.
And a penalty.
Yeah, so one open play goal. That looks bad on paper. Big part of it is the fact he's unfit in these games. He weren't fit to play in half of them, most likely. But on paper, it doesn't look great.
No.
So for him to come back, I'm sure it was affecting his confidence as well. He's not scored in a while. He's not been fit to play. He can come into the team as one of his first games back and get the goal like that. Good finish to get the winner as well, to really solidify the game. The fans chanting his name, going over and celebrating with the crowd. It could be a big personal milestone for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, this, because it could really be the beginning of him coming back into the Everton fold as a very important player. And that's with, hopefully, touch wood, injury-free as well. We all hope that Dominic Calvert-Lewin wants that more than anyone. He doesn't enjoy being injured. No. He wants to be fit and scoring goals for Everton, and it'd be beneficial for everyone if he can do that.
Had a big thing with this one. you can have a little bit about Dom as well yourself there. But a big thing about this one was, it was a key thing for me, is that quality of, we've got Beto who's ran them around a bit, knocked them about, looks like he's a handful, and you're taking him off and you're replacing them. There's no drop in quality, and if anything, there's more experience, and you might even say an upgrade slightly on Beto, just because Dom's been there and done it before regularly in the Prem. And that showed. A lot of clubs have this. We've not really had this. We've had one striker for years, and if he goes off, the drop off is quite big. On Saturday, we were able to replace him with another lad who's just as much of a handful. Got some different attributes, but has got a record of scoring goals.
No, it was. I mean, there's no evidence yet to say whether Beto is better than Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
No, that's what I'm saying.
So it's to have Dom coming off the bench, and he'll know himself having the injury problems. He'll know himself that he does have to. He does have to get a run going. He does have to play games. Again, it's another injury, whether it's a cheek injury or you know, or whatever. He does know that he has to take care of himself and look after his body and be managed in a certain way. So the pressure's off him now. So for him to come on and score such a good goal, and it's mad because that's the goal we've been missing so much in the last like 2-3 seasons, by the way. That killer goal to get like...
Just to take it away.
I know, and there's been, whether you like it or not, there's been games where it's fallen to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. You know, I think of like Leeds away at the beginning of last season.
Twice, Leeds.
Where like just these moments, these one-on-one moments, where there's a little bit of time to think about it. So the fact that it, you know, went under the goalkeeper and went in is a huge boost to everyone. It just give us that little bit of daylight, took the pressure off. And for me, I said this on me instant match. Like last year, we were 5-1 up at Brighton, and in the last minute, I was still worried. When that goal went in, I was dead. I was fine. I was pretty fine after. I was thinking, we've done the job here. We just keep going up. We're not under pressure. We're playing well. I mean, there's always that thing in the back of your head. It's Everton.
Oh, if they get one, you back the net.
I know, but I was a bit like, the difference was, it felt like that just took the sting out of the whole gaff. Like there's games when you know if you get a couple of goals ahead, the game is done. You know it's done because you've got that confidence. You haven't scored on the counter attack against the run of play. You scored because you deserve it, and we absolutely deserve it. And I think it's just a like you said, it's a lovely message to send that you have got that other player, that other goal scorer, Dan Juman as well, out, you know, on the pitch to come on. You can see you hold midfield. I mean, I thought that when he took Onana off, I was like, that's a massive sign of how much control he thinks we've got in this game. And it you know, we saw the game.
He just sat in then, didn't he?
Yeah, and we saw the game out, and I was actually a little bit disappointed because there was a couple more opportunities where Dom tried to do his spinny thing, and Dan Juma tried to take on the world. And I was thinking, if you just played an extra pass there, we're in for 4, for 5. But no, we've got now something we've been calling for ages. And I know we had Richarlison and Dominic Calvert-Lewin,
but they were he was a wide forward in the team.
But that's it, and they were in the team together. The difference is now you've got 2 strikers, maybe for one role, and they're both desperate to play in it, and they've both got their own attributes, and they both look capable of causing trouble, and that's massively important.
And then you've got young Smithy as well, who's 6'4", the same kind of height, who will be chomping at the bit and learning off. So you're giving yourself options. Jack Harrison, of course, had 45 minutes for the 21s on Friday.
He's not playing up front.
He's not going up front. No. But he's coming back into the squad, and he'll offer goals and assists as well. So offensively, it's looking good. But that to me was just the little switch of like Beto off, Dom on, and there's a goal as well. And I think the more confidence you get from that, a lad's coming off the bench who affects it, he'll score goals. It damages oppositions that they look and go, Calvert-Lewin, and he's capable, rather than Maupay doesn't score. You've got to put as much doubt in everybody's mind as possible, haven't you?
Well, if Beto was running them ragged for over an hour, and you know he's making them runs and barging into them, using his physicality, and then I'm thinking, right, he's finally slowing down. This lad, he's getting a bit tired. Board comes up number 9, Dominic Calvert-Lewin's coming on. It's like, oh Christ, here we go again. Different profile of striker, but you know, again, physical, hard to get the ball off if he's got his back to you. you have to be switched on because he's a good finisher and he's a poacher as well. He's going to try and sneak in behind you, get on the end of that loose ball. So it's a wonderful problem to have, really, isn't it? And we do always have the option of going 4-4-2 as well.
I think at home there might be occasions where he can play the pair of them and put teams really on the back foot. So,
but it's another card in the deck, isn't it? We won't go to it very often, most likely, but it's an option, isn't it? And we haven't had that option for a long time.
It's up to them to make the manager think, I actually have to play both of them, isn't it?
It'll make our defenders better in saying it. I know that.
Well, exactly. You're up against, you've got
you're up against players
like that.
Different ways of playing. You see in the first half, you could, every time a ball was put forward to Beto, he won it. He won the ball.
The flick on from, there's one with McNeil where he doesn't even jump. He just holds the lad off and flicks it.
There's a flick to the Corey quite early as well, where he just does exactly the same thing. Knows exactly what he's doing. There's loads of space to the right of him, so he just puts it and the Corey runs into it. And the slightly different players. Dom, we know what Dom's strengths are. Beto has obviously, I mean, there was one in the first half with Beto. I think he had the ball on the left-hand side and he just pushed it and he knew he had the beating at the pace. He was gone. And I know people go, he's got like a gangly style, but he's got a real belief in himself as well. You can tell that. He's got a belief that he can win it in the air. He's got a belief that he can beat people for pace. He's got that unpredictability with because he's got dead long legs and it's like the power one chop thing.
And he's a hard-working kid. And
definitely. And you'll see two players who look like good pros going almost up against each other, bouncing off each other, probably desperate to play in the same side. That'll be interesting to see whether that would work, whether maybe one of them have to change slightly to do that. But just to have those options, and I know the squad isn't massive, but to have the potential of, like, say, next Saturday, the potential of having, say, like, Jack Harrison, one of Dom or Beto on the bench, and, like, a Dan Juma on the bench, or a James Garner, or whatever, that just, at least, that gives you those, like, 3 subs that you need.
That can change.
That can change a game.
Definitely.
And even having the likes of Patterson on the bench for energy, things like that, if you know what I mean, if you're going to keep playing young in here at the moment, so having that, but no, all in all, absolutely brilliant. You just mentioned James Garner there. Let's have a look at his numbers from the game. There you go. There's his heat map on the right. Key passes 4, assists 1, duels 1, 6 out of 11, 3 tackles, and accurate passes. I think that's 24 from 26. I think, and he had a good game, like you say, come in. Bit more of a right side of midfield position rather than a right forward, but thought he I think personally had his best game for Everton at the weekend.
Yeah, I was just going to say that myself, probably his strongest Everton performance. You could see on the heat map there, he's done some good work down the right, but he has took up some space in the middle as well, especially when he was moved over, when we made changes. He has a really strong 90 minutes, but one of his best moments of the game came in the middle of the park when he won that ball back and just slid it through to Calvert-Lewin. Good performance by James Garner. He's got a job on his hands to play in his natural position week in, week out, because we've got Guay, who again I thought was good at the weekend. Onana had a very strong game. Decore speaks for himself.
It's our strongest midfield performance for some time, wasn't it?
Yeah, but James Garner, it's going to be tough for him to dislodge.
He's a young man though, isn't he? He's a young man. He's got time on his side.
Dyche says after the game, if you listen to Sean Dyche's press conference, or not press conference, is it Everton interview, he says, he name checks Garner and Nathan Patterson. He said, I've told these are Everton's future, so they're going to be in and out for now. It's up to them to grasp it. James Garner puts performances in like he did at the weekend. He'll play more than he won't play. Got to give the manager a headache. The thing with the Idrissa Garner game, people like to pick holes, and he did give 2 loose balls away. That was terrible, and give them opportunities early on. His passing accuracy was still over 93%. I think it was Everton's best out of there. He won the ball back. There's a stat going round that he's won the ball. Only Idrissa Garner Gage won the ball back more than Rodri has, and the Lord and Rodri in this particular post, even though Garner's the highest one. Everton without him in their midfield, it isn't the same midfield. Whether you like it or not, whether he annoys you because he's loose with his passing sometimes, although his passing accuracy tells you totally different.
I think it's the situations in which it is given away that gets the people.
Loose, but right, he is. He done one the other week against Arsenal. Just turned and passed it without looking and they broke. That isn't great, but he's not perfect. We know that. Yet he still had He still created 3 opportunities on Saturday. One big chance, which is the one when he travels with it and slides better when he should score.
And that's the type of thing people say he doesn't do. To be fair, isn't it? Carrying the ball and playing a forward pass. Well, people say he doesn't do that.
Well, there you go. I mean, Pedford, he had 12 out of 13 final third passes completed as well, and 2 out of 3 in the box. Anyway, Onana's being put into the 6, notably in the last couple of games. I think Saturday was his best performance in there. He's better sitting there, isn't he, and letting Garner go and do the
No, I think there's a point where, some like young players, I think there's a point where you've got to allow someone to do what they're supposed to do, and that's what he's supposed to do. And I thought, again, the difference on Saturday to the difference against Arsenal was like night and day. And it wasn't, do you know what, this one is one for the stats, whereas last week I said it wasn't one for the statos, whereas last week with the statos, Mike can pick numbers, but they just didn't have enough last week. In this game, completely different. 71 touches of the ball before we even start. Now, I look at his numbers after every game, and there's so often in the 30s and 40s. So to have 71 touches of the ball straight away tells you.
And away from home.
How much more dominant he had. He won practically every single tackle. He won practically every aerial duel. He was dominant. He was like that. He was that player where you don't always see. You don't know. He's quietly effective in this game.
But the player we think we should see.
But that's the player, and I think you have to. There is a point, like you said with James Garner, there is a point where you have to let players play. And the mad thing is, I've always thought that there was more to this Garner game. I think you've seen that while he's played international football, which
and
of course
PSG.
A bit slower. But I think it's the trust thing now. Okay, will it work every game? Well, probably not, because that 3 sometimes look so at odds with each other. But then in a game like this, it quietly fits together because of the opposition and because other people are doing their part. But I think Onana's now earned the right to play in that number 6. And I think someone like James Garner will earn the right by coming in, playing in a position that maybe is not his position, getting more game time, settling into understanding the full picture of things. And that's something. And Patterson's the same, but it was like going back to Garner. Did Garner play better because he had Ashley Young behind him, who just didn't move all game, got the booking in the first minute, and yet was quietly went along his business? Not amazing, didn't do it, but positionally in the right place, where Patterson maybe sometimes isn't positionally in the right place. So manager's got to make decisions, and I think on Saturday he got pretty much everything right.
He did.
On Saturday.
Amadou Onana, 86% passing accuracy, 9 ball recoveries, won 66% of his aerial duels, 13 out of 15 attacking passes, won 6 out of 6 tackles, 1 interception, won again 66% of his aerial duels defensively as well. So strong performance from Onana. My man at the match was James Tarkowski. Thought he was outstanding, scored a goal as well. Let's have a look at his numbers from the weekend. 1 goal, 1 assist, 4 clearances, 8 out of 9 duels, 1 long balls, 8 out of 12 completed. I thought he was absolutely fantastic at the weekend, Tarky, and a real captain's performance. And obviously come up with the assist for the first goal and then the second goal to put us back in front.
Yeah, well, he's had a strong performance in just his natural role anyway, you know, winning 8 out of 9 duels there as well. But then when he brings an assist and a goal to the table as well, it's hard to look elsewhere. And, you know, a lot of players played well at the weekend, but no one matched what Tarkowski brought to the team. And yeah, like you say, real captain's performance, responsible for 2 goals in a game where we've won by 2. So,
and he dragged Dom in for the block. He dragged Dom over to where he wanted him, and Dom's in the.
Do you know what the best thing was though? Scoring against his old team, and none of that stupid.
Oh no, he fully celebrated.
Fall and go and celebrate. Although he ran to the wrong corner.
Yeah, put the fingers in the ears. But he might. Well, you say the wrong corner, but he wanted.
Oh yes. He knew. No, I like that. I like that. That was a proper celebration.
A little bit of wind up.
He enjoyed that.
But yeah, he's also playing with another quality centre-back as well, isn't he? Who complements him and they complement each other's game. And the more Brentford can be next to Tarkowski and, you know, learn a few things from him, the more he's going to develop. He's already a good player, but having, you know, an experienced partner like James Tarkowski next to you, teaching you the ways, like, teaching, like Sean Dyche says, the dark arts,
Well,
the
that's it,
Premier
innit?
League.
You're talking about, there is always the rule of two at the Civ.
I was going to say to you, Ped, that it's developing into like a nice partnership, but Branthwaite's almost like old school defender as well. But he's great with the ball, but he loves to tackle. He likes to throw himself in.
Step out a lot.
No, he does need to calm down. I mean,
3 bookings.
3 bookings in 3 games isn't great, but they're developing a nice little partnership.
No, they are, and you forgive all, like I said before about the goal. You follows the ball. You look at that and go. You don't go. You go. Young lad, he's learning his trade. You know, he's very calm. There's one little moment in the first half, it was like nothing fancy, but he had the ball in his feet and he waited, and then someone made a nice move into space and he just gave it to them. There was no rashness about it. It's like, let's just kick it down the field. You can just kick it down the field if you need him to in the right moment, but he wants to like play the right pass all the time, and there's a real, I think everyone said there's a calmness about him. Yeah. And if you've got that calmness, I think it keeps everyone else calm. And, you know, we've seen this sort of before with John Stones. I don't necessarily think I want him to start doing Cruyff turns at this stage of where we are. But I like that, just that idea of I'll take an extra second. Not because I'm hesitant to do, but I'm looking for the right thing.
There was one in the second half, it was probably one of the only few times they had we were up our end defending, and he had the ball and 2 of their players come to press him and he just waited and I was thinking, you start give it to someone, and as they closed in he just slid it between the 2 of them and we turned and sprung, and it was like he's got us because he's had the confidence to go, come and get it then.
Well,
and
there's
he just
a self-belief there, isn't there? There's self-belief, but it's brought on by ability. It's not arrogance, because he knows he's that good. He's got the ability to do that, and
you don't know what foot he is.
Yeah,
everyone thinks he's left-footed, but
he's very
his
comfortable.
Old manager said he's right-footed, so you're going, hang on. But he can play either, can't he?
But having a centre back who's at least
all footballers should be able to play with 2 feet, though. It's not. By the way, it's not like a superhero trick. All footballers should be able to play with both feet. It's their jobs.
But a lot can't.
I know they can't. But it does bug me. Like, I understand why I've only got 1 foot, or, you know, but these are professional footballers. Work on it every day and train it. It annoys me. He's at it always. That's brilliant.
Gets you out of trouble.
Oh my God, it always gets you out of trouble. It always gets you out of trouble, because you have to see with Dwight McNeil at times, and I'm only picking on him because he is the most left-footed man on the planet.
The most one-footed.
Yeah. But, like, it does get you. You have to change your body shape. You have to move into position. The defender or opposition can send you in the direction they want you to go in and make it hard for you. Being 2-footed, this is where like European football for years and years has been a step ahead of English football. Because for some reason, like I was watching Marcus Rashford the other week for England. Oh my God, lad!
He's your left foot.
Maybe that's why he crashed the car the other night. Maybe, I don't know. But it winds me up. But he is. But having 2-footed centre back is, it's huge.
Incredible.
Get him signed to that contract.
I'm sure.
Go full Chelsea.
I'm sure
8 years.
That's the next thing. But they are developing a nice little partnership now. And we go on. Let's have a look.
Fair play to Marcel Brands.
Well done, Brands. Yeah. Let's go to the match stats and have a look. Then from the game, Brentford 12 shots, Everton 18, 2 on target for the Bees, 6 for Everton, 4 big chances for Brentford, where that is, 5 for Everton, and a 57% share for Brentford, 43 to Everton. I'm not sure about 4 big chances.
Yeah, I'm not sure where that comes from, if they've had 2 shots on target.
Yeah, side net.
Yeah.
Inside net's mine, that.
But I mean, there was the Lewis Potter one that was off target, and that would have been a big chance. But I think regardless, I think that shows we had a comfortable feel on the game, didn't it? We were in control. There's only 2 shots on target. One of them was their goal. That was their first attack of the game. We had a hold on the game.
Easily our best performance of the season, and obviously one of our best performances under Sean Dyche, I would say, as well. It was obviously the Brighton game.
It felt like the Brighton game.
The Brighton game was a huge thing. It just shows you that when things click into place, you know, this Everton team can be a good side. But it's about it happening more, because there is only 1 win, and now we've got big opportunities big opportunities to move forward now before that international break and get some points on the board. And, you know, Saturday's game and then the following Saturday will be huge, won't they? 2 home games against teams that I think we should be beating. And if you get those points on the board, then actually, you know, you look at the start and think, yes, we're starting to grow a little bit. But you've got to win those games.
Oh, but it's one game, isn't it? And it was a really, really convincing, good performance against a good side. And that can only give you confidence. To me, I said at the weekend, they've set the bar now. For me, this is the level. The manager, the coaches, the players, they've set the bar. This is the level for every game now, intensity-wise, working hard. The chances will come if you're brave. We weren't brave against Arsenal in the slightest. And we got what we deserved. And I hope that that's the line in which it's thrown under. So that we don't ever play like that again. We play with a bravery and we try to get results. And if we come up short, we come up short because they're better than us. But on Saturday, we went up against a tough team that doesn't lose, I think, 2 defeats in a year or something at home. You know, we were the second one to win there. So we went there and we showed a bravery and an intensity. And if you do that, you put the opposition on the back foot. And if you put the opposition on the back foot, you've got the opportunity to do exactly what Everton did at the weekend. And there has to be more than that, Jack, doesn't it? We have got 2 home games, like Ped said, Luton and Bournemouth. For me, it's got to be 6 points. And if there's 6 points, we do go into the next international break thinking, that's not bad, that we come back from the international break and we won 3 out of 4 league games. That's a good turnaround from the first portion, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it should be 6 points as well. No disrespect to Luton or Bournemouth, but I think we should be beating them at home. This manager, I think he's bought himself a little bit of time now. That'll go away quickly if we don't get the necessary results from these games, because we've said this to Baz before on the live, but we've had games where there've been good performance, bad results. Some people through that have said, okay, keep the faith, the numbers look good, it'll turn around eventually. Others, me and you included, have thought, okay, but it needs to show us something. At some point, there needs to be something tangible eventually. We can't just rely on, oh, we're underperforming, but that means we'll improve eventually forever. We do need something physically to show it. They've shown it now. They've shown they can do it. They've shown they can play very well for a large period of a game. Let's maintain that. Let's beat Luton. Let's beat Bournemouth. Let's gain some points on the bottom 3. Get, into a closer mid-table position, then going into a couple of harder games as well. They're not necessarily must-win because we've won our winnable games.
Takes the pressure off, doesn't it? If Everton were to win the 2 home games, and it's still a big if because we've lost 6 of the last 7 at home. Our home form is awful, and that's something the manager has got to correct. The players have got to correct, and then you will engage Goodison. And once you've engaged Goodison, it can become a difficult place for opposition. It isn't at the moment because we lose so many games there, which is terrible. So hopefully we will turn that. If we can win those 2 games, then you're right, we come back against Liverpool and it's not a must win. It's like, let's see what happens, but it buys you that time and it buys the players that bit of confidence that, okay, we're all right. We'll have games we'll lose because we are where we are, but we've got to make sure we're giving everybody a game. And we have, to be fair, we weren't great against Fulham, but we should have won the game by 4 goals. We weren't great by any stretch against Wolves, but we should have won the game clearly. Sheffield United, we had opportunities. Villa, we were dreadful and we deserved nothing. Arsenal, we were dreadful for as far as I'm concerned, we deserved nothing. The other 2 home games we should have won and we didn't. But you're right, you can't keep going. It's no good us playing great against Luton on Saturday and getting beat 2-0 and going, but we've had 27 attempts at goal. That's not good enough. There's an issue here. Then there's an issue. But like you say, on Saturday, we've proved the bar. We've proved what we can do. Dom will help. Beto's helping. Harrison hopefully will be back in. And we now should go to that game. We'll fill it in midweek in the Cup. That might be different because we might make changes. We come back against Luton at the weekend. And if we can win that, I think we can start going right. Because I've said all along, this team is good enough to be mid-table without any worries of relegation. But it's no good me saying it and other people saying it and other people
and the underlying numbers saying it.
Well, at the end of the day, the points will tell you. The points tell you, don't they, where you are. You can believe all you want, you're going to be good enough to do something, but if you're never ever getting the results, then it's only words, isn't it? Saturday we proved that we've got that ability. So hopefully it can be the start of building something. But let's see, we have, you know, we've been here before, haven't we, in other seasons and not built on it. So let's hope we can do it at the weekend and get a result in midweek at Aston Villa. Right, we are gonna, where am I? I'm here, Annie. We're gonna continue over on Toffee TV Premier. Now, if you want to become a member, the link is in the description. The QR code will be on the screen in a minute. Give the video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and thanks for watching. See you later.